Welcome to the Inside Texas Football YouTube channel powered by InsideTexas.com. Justin, can you do me a favor while I get this video going and introduce the people, tell them what they need to do while I fix this microphone right here?
Yes. First thing you got to do is you got to like and subscribe to the Inside Texas Football YouTube channel. We're climbing up that mountain to 10K. Be that 10,000th sub. We need you guys, and we are growing like crazy, and we love it. But we need one more thing. Come see us at InsideTexas.com. This is the absolute best time. It's August. Practice reports on a regular basis. Recruiting updates. This could be a 5-star month for recruiting. Got decisions tomorrow. Got decisions in a week. Got a couple more decisions in 2 weeks. There's so much at Inside Texas, Joe. I can't contain myself. Are you ready to rock?
I'm ready. I think I got this working. I don't know what it was doing before.
You sound great.
I am ready to rock. It is a 5-star month of August. Obviously, we're in the thick of fall camp. There's a bunch of different stuff. Oh, I said it. Dang it. Preseason camp. We're in the thick of
preseason. Somewhere is shaming you.
I know. We're in the thick of preseason camp, so make sure you like this video. Help us get to 10,000 subscribers. But we've also got a considerable amount of recruiting to talk about. And Justin, the most important thing at this juncture is looking at tomorrow. In about 26 hours, you'll be there. 5-star wide receiver Kaliq Lockett will be there, and he will be announcing his decision. It's Texas A&M, LSU, Florida State. One more, correct?
Alabama
always in the mix with top targets in DFW, and especially now with Kalen DeBoer helping out. But Justin, Texas has been in a great position for a while. You got to talk to him back at the On3 Elite Series. So did a number of members from the On3 network. And before we get into the recruitment part of it, and about to throw his huddle on the screen as well, what does Kaliq Lockett bring to the field when just looking at him as a wide receiver?
Okay, this kid he's not your typical, in my opinion, high school wide receiver, in that he is unbelievably refined in his game. His technical readout is phenomenal. Every step he makes has a purpose. No wasted energy, no wasted motion. Elite body control, elite hands. I've seen this kid, I don't know, 3 or 4 different times on different occasions. I have yet to see him drop a football. I'm sure I'm going to jinx him at some point, but the dude just has sticky glue hands. And you can just tell he's gotten better, like the development of him. A lot of times they're just really good athletes playing receiver, going out, catching the ball, beating the DB, just out-athleting people. Kaliq is different because he started coming on campus almost 3 years ago. No offers, no stars, kept his ears down, really went and worked at his craft. And you see it incrementally every season. We've seen him get a little better and a little better from a 3-star to a 4-star. And then, by God, after you watch him enough, it's like, okay, that's what a 5-star wide receiver looks like. And all the recruiting industry rankings have pretty much, come around to that as well. There's just so much to like about Kaliq. He's not the fastest guy. He's not what you would call a speed merchant, but he can go. Great feet. You're not going to jam him at the line. He's a vertical threat if he needs to high point the ball. There's so many little things I can say about Kaliq, on top of the fact, Joe, that he is such a good kid, such a good young man with a really good head on his shoulders. He's ready to make that decision. We're ready. We're going to be there. I'm fired up. You and I've known this kid for 3 years now. The culmination of this recruitment's going to come to an end tomorrow, a little bit after noon at Saxe High School.
See, I'm trying to I remember taking a picture of Kaliq Lockett during that visit.
And nothing like now that he did in that picture.
I'm trying to see if I can pull it up, but it's
almost unrecognizable.
It's a different player. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, Saxe. Oh, yeah, that's where the Duvernays went. And oh, yeah, okay, here he is. And now we're looking at another 5-star wide receiver from Saxe. So we went through the finalists. You've got Texas A&M, Alabama, LSU, Florida State. What are some of the different things that each school has tried to pitch him on? And what do you think the Longhorns' really strong pitch to him has been over the course of this recruitment?
With Texas A&M, his grandmother used to work in the A&M system. I believe his in College Station. So there was a small kind of tie there. She had some familiarity with College Station. He had been there before as a kid, I believe, to go visit her and stuff like that. So A&M was kind of in that mix. Alabama jumped in because of, like you said before, Kalen DeBoer's there. They're going for the more high profile, big offensive type weapons. They loved Kaliq, and I got to tell you, Alabama made a dent in this recruitment. There was a stretch where I thought Bama may hold a slight lead. LSU's LSU. If you want to play wide receiver on Sundays, that's probably your safest bet is to go there. It's hard to not like LSU for a number of reasons. Florida State was kind of a dark horse. I think they established that relationship really early because, like I said, he didn't have a lot of offers or stars when this recruitment started. I believe Florida State was rather early, and I think that laid a foundation for those guys. But ultimately, I think Texas, I'll start with the fact that he grew up a Longhorn fan. He told both of us for the last few years, I've loved Texas. This is the school I've always grown up watching, always grown up loving. He talked to his family, got to talk to his father after, I believe it was the April scrimmage visit during that weekend. And his dad was you could just tell he was so proud and so happy that his son is being not only pursued by Texas, but pushed, recruited, like desired. You could tell that really hit home with that family. And again, proximity. Texas is at a point where wide receivers do not have to go far away from home to make a living. Don't have to do it anymore. Adnan Mitchell, Xavier Worthy, Jordan Whittington, those guys proved it in the last draft class that you can stay 2 hours from the house and still make it big in the SEC on the biggest stage at the University of Texas. I think Kaliq Lockett has done that. I think this has been Texas since they offered over a year ago. But Kaliq is thorough. He is a smart kid. He likes to kind of go through it. He's a little more pragmatic. And I love his approach in this recruitment. You and I do this on a regular basis. A lot of these kids, sometimes their head gets too big, and some guys always keep it real, and they always kind of keep the same mentality. Kaliq Lockett is the same kid now than when we bet 3 years ago. He's just a lot more polished.
Yeah, I think just looking at what he does on the field to bring it back to that instead of some of the recruiting aspects, this is one of the smoother players, smoother athletes that you'll find at this position. He has great speed. It's not like super duper elite speed, but he has the speed Steve Sarkisian needs.
Yes.
And he also is the type of player that already has a good amount of refinement. He has body control that's pretty special. Like, this is a player who's going to, obviously Steve Sarkisian moves people all over the field. But at the same time, this is someone who looks good, being that outside receiver for Steve Sarkisian and making sure that, he's winning downfield. That could be on goes, it could be on post, but that could be also on comebacks and over the middle on varying RPOs. You're going to be at Saxe tomorrow, correct?
Yes. I'll head out there in the morning, drop off the kid, and go head out there. It's supposed to be at noon. I'll be there a little bit early. I want to see Kaliq. I want to see his dad. Just kind of, go survey the scene. We're going to have some video. We're going to have some stuff on the YouTube channel. We're going to have stuff on InsideTexas.com. We're going to be covered, Joe. That's just how we roll.
We've already got you already have some intel and a decision preview over at InsideTexas.com. So make sure you go check that out. You can get a subscription. Join us today. You're not going to want to miss out on it. Before we go any further, got to give a little bit of love to our sponsor. That is Laura Baker. If you ask our buddy Ian Boyd, he would not be in the city of Austin without Laura Baker right now. Laura Baker's been helping people buy the house of their dreams within Central Texas. Lifetime Longhorn, longtime friend of Inside Texas, and a member of the elite Andy Allen team, part of Keller Williams Realty. So if you're looking for a home in the Austin or Central Texas area, you need to give Laura Baker a call, 512-784-0505, or give her an email at laura@andyallenteam.com. Kaliq.com. Justin, you also just posted some intel on a big offensive lineman that the Longhorns have a lot of interest in. That is Nick Brooks. He was in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, up by our buddy Tim Preston. Now he has moved a little bit closer to Athens in the city of, what is it, Loganville?
Loganville.
Grayson High School,
Home of
powerhouse
the
down
Kenyatta
there.
Watsons.
Home of the Watsons, powerhouse down there in Georgia. He just put out his top 3. What can you tell us about some of the latest and who is in that top 3?
Yeah, Nick Brooks is a prime example of why you need to be at InsideTexas.com, because last night I posted an update with some notes on Nick Brooks. Got to catch up with him. Great interview with him yesterday afternoon. He was tremendous. Like, I love the direction of that recruitment. But yeah, we mentioned last night there was going to be a top 3. It was likely going to be Texas, Georgia, and USC. That's the way it spun out this morning when he put it out. And honestly, it's a Texas USC battle. And I know that sounds surprising, especially for a kid moving back to Georgia. He just started school yesterday. He just starts his first day of football today with the Grayson Rams. And so he's ready to get this decision over with. You can tell he's got 2 different dates. It's either going to drop on August 23rd or August 30th. He's going back and forth, but he just absolutely loved on Texas. I think Flood and those guys have done a great job. Honestly, I think the players, if you talk to him, it's the players that are recruiting him the most. Kelvin Banks he talks to on a semi-regular basis. Arch Manning reaches out to him. Colin Simmons has been reaching out to him. And so he's already kind of built a bond and a camaraderie with those guys. When he came in for his official in June, Austin blew him away. And we've seen that before with kids that aren't necessarily used to a big city, like that. And I think that really blew him away as well. Nick's a big boy. I mean, 6'7", 360. I mean, he makes Cam Williams look like his little brother. Like, this is just a large dude. And we know how much Kyle Flood and those guys love that. But yeah, you got to go to InsideTexas.com. We had a great update on that last night with some notes. Come back this morning with some quotes. I think that the decision is going to come in the last bit of August. People have asked, does this affect Michael Fasusi? None whatsoever. Texas wants both. They're going to try to get both. Where does Brooks play? He projects at guard, but he could also play some tackle. They're going to figure that out if and when he gets on campus. But yeah, I'm really liking this. I'm liking this trend line with Nick Brooks. Right, Texas has done pretty well in the last couple of months with him anyway. But after talking to him last night, I would double down on him and say I think they might be the quiet leader.
Let's go through some of the other decisions ahead of the Longhorns this August. You mentioned one, but I got to get to our buddy Roaster here. French talk has gone a little quiet. Is Texas still looking good? He did make some end of July visits, I believe, to both LSU and Miami. Right. We've been corresponding with our buddy Shea Dixon over at the Bengal Tiger, also Billy Embody, Stephen Wagner, and all the crew over at Kane Sport. They've been on this one as well. But this is one of the more interesting recruitments to follow. Jamie French, he gets the process, and I say that with no malice at all. He understands that he is a sought-after recruit. He's going to enjoy it. He's going to listen to everybody's pitch. He knows that he is the type of player that every school in the country wants, and he's going to make sure he enjoys this process. But he is deciding this month, what do we know about where Jamie French might be leaning toward as we get closer and closer to his decision.
Yeah, my man Roaster, I know you got to come look at InsideTexas.com, because if you read that Kaliq Lockett decision preview this morning, you saw some intel in it that was talking about Jamie French. Listen, for one, if we don't talk about each guy every single day, it doesn't mean we've gone quiet. It doesn't mean news has turned in a different direction. It just means there's nothing of substance or brand new at that second, at this moment. And so, but there's plenty of Jamie French talk hanging out at InsideTexas.com. You got to come see us. But yeah, I mentioned a little bit of it because, and I'll even give you guys a little bit of a tidbit on a premium article. Jamie French and Kaliq Lockett talk every day. They talk every day. And KJ Lacey is kind of the meteorary of those guys. He's also facilitating a lot of that talk with those guys. He's close. Lacey's closer with Lockett and French than any other receivers in the class in that cycle. And I think that's significant, not just for Kaliq, but for Jamie. LSU and Miami are coming, but really it's Miami. You know, the U is bringing the old U ways. They're making it interesting, trying to keep him closer to home. He's a Jacksonville, Florida native. I accidentally called him a Jacksonville, Texas native.
Playing at the Tomato Bowl.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, if Jamie French was in East Texas, he'd thrive in the Tomato Bowl. But my man is from another Jacksonville in Florida, Mandarin High School. The quarterback there, I believe, is committed to Michigan. They got a great program. But Roaster, go check out Inside Texas. Go check out my Kaliq Lockett decision preview. A little bit of nuggets about Jamie French in there. And again, if we don't talk about every single recruit in every single YouTube show, recruiting story, recruiting article, don't fret. It's always good to ask just so we can keep up and keep us sharp. But usually, unless there's big news, we don't mention it.
Gonna keep on moving.
And I know you're already with this Roaster. Nothing but love. But you'll love that intel portion of the Kaliq preview.
Going to keep on cycling through. Got to talk about 5-star offensive lineman Michael Fasusi, another guy who will be making a decision sometime this month. We got some friends who've been out to Louisville. I think you want to get out to Louisville.
I'll be there next week.
You'll be there as well. What's the latest with him? This has always kind of seemed like Missouri circling, Oregon wanted in, but don't worry. Doesn't seem like that's going to happen now. It seems like it's now at this point, Oklahoma, Texas A&M, Texas battling out for one of the top offensive linemen. We talked about how the offensive linemen in the state of Texas, the big three schools who very, very often go into Dallas-Fort Worth, that would be Oklahoma, Texas, and Texas A&M. There were three big offensive tackles in DFW during this cycle. One's Lamont Rogers. He committed to Missouri.
Right.
One's Ty Haywood. Thought to be leans elsewhere. He committed to Alabama. So now all these big three schools, they really need to make sure that they get somebody. And now everybody's focusing on Fasusi with Texas, Oklahoma, and Texas A&M circling what's going on that front.
It's funny how the recruiting cycles play out, man. We thought we had it figured out in the spring. One was going to one of the three, one was going to the other of the three, and the last one was going to the last of the three. Like we thought we knew everything, and we didn't know anything. I will say this: Michael Fasusi is going to stay close. That's going to be his decision. It's going to be one of those big three. So two of them are going to strike out. One of them isn't. Let's hope Texas isn't that one. Honestly, I think this is a Texas-Oklahoma battle. Ever since, A&M hired a recruiting staffer here recently, and then all of a sudden he's back in Florida after the Fasusi recruitment didn't necessarily go in the right direction. That tells me that's a data point right there. And listen, Fasusi has been consistent. Bill Bedenbaugh, he has a great, maybe the best relationship with him out of all the college coaches he talks to. He really likes Oklahoma. He knows Jaden Hardy up there. He talks to a handful of former Louisville 4-star. He talks to a handful of the guys that, from the DFW area that play up there. Peyton Bowen, Billy Bowen, those guys. But man, he is so important for Texas, and they aren't letting up. Like, this is something they are pushing hard. Kyle Flood has made sure Fasusi feels like a priority for years, and especially this last 9 months down this last stretch. Fasusi loves the recruiting process. I think he's got to a point where he's ready for that decision. It's coming August 21st. I believe that's when that date's going to be. Inside Texas will be in Louisville very soon to kind of check in with him, get the very latest. But Texas fans, just prepare for a fight. I think this is an old-fashioned Red River shootout, Texas OU. You're going to walk in the Cotton Bowl. You're going to walk out either drunk or bloodied or both. It's going to be a battle. Texas is in it, but OU is too. You just got to go to InsideTexas.com and check in on our updates regularly.
Last 5-star we need to check in on, that is Michael Terry III, the athlete out of Alamo Heights High School. I'm a little bit closer to him than you are, at least proximity-wise, so I'll be making my way to the home of the Mules before too long. But this has had Oregon involved. This has had Texas involved, Nebraska. This is one of those players that Matt Rule looks at, sees the measurables, sees the fact that he's a Texas high school football player, and Matt Rule, once that happens, it's like a light switch turns on.
Yeah.
Nebraska has given him a ton of attention. Oregon has as well. You've documented his relationship with the offensive coordinator, Will Stein, AJ Milwee, Tashard Choice. The Longhorns offensive staff has made sure to show Michael Terry he is a priority within this class. They understand a fit for him, but now it's just who's built that stronger relationship and where does Michael Terry really want to be?
Yeah, it's Texas and Oregon. Nebraska, they shot their shot, and they really did come correct. And if Texas and Oregon wouldn't have pushed the way they have in the last few months, I think Nebraska probably would have been the pick 3 or 4 months ago. But Oregon and Texas doubled down during that official visit in June. They laid the groundwork for this. He is a priority. It's 2 coaches on each staff offered this kid in 8th grade. That's well documented. I was talking to a source about Michael Terry yesterday and actually the day before, just kind of some people closer to his family. And the feeling is that Texas is probably the quiet leader, obviously because of proximity and because AJ Milwee has really picked it up. They're not just saying you need to be a defensive player. They're saying you're an athlete, Michael, and we're going to fit you wherever best suits. And that could be on the offensive side. There could be some H-back. That could be a tight end. It could be the 3rd receiver in a wide receiver class joining a Jamie French and a Kaliq Lockett, hypothetically. We don't know, but he knows he's wanted. And I think that's the biggest factor. If he would have felt this loved in January, I think this recruitment's over. But this is where we are now. Oregon's throwing hands. Texas is throwing hands. NIL is definitely involved in this recruitment as well. Like I said, I think Texas might be the quiet leader, and he doesn't have a date yet, but I would be shocked if he doesn't announce before the beginning of his senior year, sometime in late August. The Horns they're coming after him. They want him. They want him to stay close to home. Man, that's another one that you just got to come see us in Inside Texas because those updates change pretty regularly. But right now, I still feel like it's a Texas-Oregon battle. Texas fans, get off the PTSD about the Ducks. That was only a couple bad beats, and they wind up flipping Sharma anyway. Let's get that green taste out of your mouth. I like the Horns right now, but let's wait till late August.
We'll finish out. We have almost 1,300 people watching on all platforms. Thank you for joining us. Got a couple different questions we want to get to. Maybe a comment. Justin, is this who I think it is?
Yes, it is. Miss Rubel, the mother of Jordan Johnson Rubel, one of my up-and-coming freshmen from the Texas football class of 2024. Always nice. I'm excited about this one too, Miss Nikki. I'm excited. And here's another little tidbit. They've known this kid a long time. Miss Nikki's Fort Worth. Jordan grew up in Dallas-Fort Worth. They've known the Locketts. They know Kaliq. If Miss Nikki's excited, Texas fans should be too.
Love that one. Jordan Johnson Rubel for a quick team tidbit, getting a lot of action at Star. Obviously, we've seen Jahdae Barron, Jalen Gilbo get a lot of reps there, but I think if you're looking for someone waiting in the wings, look for number 23 on defense. One more from our buddy Living Rent Free in UT, longtime follower of this channel and of Inside Texas. Is Texas still recruiting Dorian Brew, or is that ship sailed? A lot of different people had a lot of different levels of confidence in this one over the course of that recruitment. Oregon obviously went out, maybe a little bit, out of nowhere to say, but where do you think Texas stands with Dorian Brew, especially as they continue to battle for Aiden Anding and a couple other defensive backs in the 2025 class?
Yeah, I think Dorian Brew was more of a dream than reality. And Texas approached it like, hey, we got to get this guy. This guy has to be a part. They did it the right way. And he's a phenomenal prospect, whether it be corner, safety. He's a big kid. We saw him at On3 National in Nashville, and that kid, he looks almost like a linebacker. I don't think Texas is in this. They were pretty much at the end of that top 4, top 5 that Brew was playing with. I think Dorian really liked Austin. I think his family liked it for the most part. I could have seen it as almost a compromise school because of the battle between Ohio State and LSU for so long, and then he winds up going to the Pacific Northwest. That recruitment, I think, aged our Eric Naulin a little bit. I don't see Texas still continuing that recruitment, and just unless Dorian decides he wants to stay closer to home. He's in Conroe right now, but they're going to stay on Aiden Anding. Cade Phillips projects at corner as well. That's a guy that can play both those spots, and they're still in the mix strongly with Jonah Williams. You got Jonah Williams at safety. Cade fits into that corner spot in this class really nicely. Terry Joseph and those guys are lining those guys up, but I just don't see Dorian Brew in this class.
25 minutes of good recruiting action. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel. We're going to have a bunch of great stuff, not just throughout camp. There's another practice later this afternoon. We'll try to get some intel on this page about that practice. But we got decisions to track over the next couple of weeks, including one tomorrow. Justin, you said you will be present for. Make sure you head to Inside Texas if you want the immediate information. That's where you need to go. We'll have stuff up here pretty quickly, but that's where we will post first. Justin, thank you so much. Thank you to our sponsor, Laura Baker. Make sure you check her out. Laura Baker of the Elite Andy Allen team, 512-784-0505. We will see you next time on the Inside Texas Football YouTube channel, powered by InsideTexas.com.